Hi, everybody. Steven here. So, what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to take a look at the fender aprons, specifically the front fender aprons. I'm going to repair one and I'm going to replace one. So, let's take a look at them now. So the first one I'll talk about is the repairing. So this is the driver's side over here. You can see I got a bit of rot down in there. It doesn't look too bad. And then if we go over here, it's pretty much all rotten at the top here, right? Now, my initial gut feeling was to, and it's rotted like around the top here as well. You can see that. And my initial gut feeling was to cut it right along this line here and take it off. I still might do that. You know what? I'm on the fence here. I'm probably not going to do it because I'm worried that if I cut that, do a butt cut here or a butt weld, that line's not going to be that good. I'm going to spend a lot of time with fiberglass and everything. This is really visible, that section there. The windshield water tank goes over here. So this section is going to be pretty visible. And I think I'm going to butcher it. So I think the amount of work that I'm going to do, and plus I got to get down into here and fix all this up. The amount of work I'm going to spend on fixing my welds is probably faster for me to remove all the spot welds along here and down here and along the radiator bracket and pop this thing off, right? And then pop in the replacement, right? So I think I'm going to go with that. Now, on the passenger side, that's the driver's side. On the passenger side, let's zoom in a bit there. You can see where the battery tray is. So the battery tray is not there, but I got a little bit of rot there. What I think I'm going to do is I've actually got replacement. I got replacement aprons I bought years ago for this stuff. I'm going to use that as a donor piece. I'm going to scribe out the piece of metal here and I'm going to replace the patch. The reason why I'm not too worried about this side is the tray, the actual battery tray that bolts in. There's two, where is it? I think it's like right there. Sorry. And there, and then right there, there's bolt holes, right? So the tray goes in there, and I'm going to powder coat the tray. You won't see any of the work that I do there for the most part. So I think I'm going to leave that alone. The next bit of rot is when we look at the top here. Come on. This looks pretty good. All the way up to about, come on, camera, right around here. So I'll cut out the bad piece and just replace that section from my donor piece. So I think that's what I'm going to do on the passenger side. So what you'll see next is I'm going to start the passenger side first. I'm going to cut this out, cut out that bottom piece. Where are you? Down here. I'll cut that out and then we'll come back and take a look at it. Okay. Okay, we're back. We're back. You can see I replaced the patch up there. Still got some grinding and cleaning up to do. I just cut out the bad section and then scabbed in the piece from the other part. I got to do a little bit of cleaning up in here. You're not going to see this, so I'm not too concerned. On the lower part, you see I've cut out the rotted area, and that's where the battery, let's zoom out. So we're basically zooming in there. That's where the battery goes, so understandably it's rotted. So I cut the sheet metal out, but there's also a support brace there, and it's looking pretty sad too, right? I don't know if there's replacements for it. I'm going to check, but I have a funny feeling there isn't. I don't want to spend a week fabricating this piece. So there's a couple of spot rivets. Let's back out a bit here. There's a couple of spot rivets down at the bottom there. That's about it. So I'm just going to drill those out, pull it out, and I'll see if there's a replacement. If not, I'll just repair that as I go. You'll notice I made a little note here so I get the right placement. There's a hole for a bolt right there, and let's back out. And that bolt is about I marked it 3 5/8 of an inch from this radiator support, right? So just so I get the proper positioning front to back. Doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but as long as it's decent enough. Like I said, this is all covered by the battery tray. And the battery tray, I did this. So let's just slap that on top of there. And bear with me a second. So that gets replaced by the battery tray, and you'll see I powder coated it, right? Surprised, this must have been replaced at some point because this thing was in great shape. I just wire wheeled it, did a bit of sandblasting in spots I couldn't wire wheel, and I powder coated it. So she looks pretty good. So we'll see you back in a bit anyways, all right? The next time you're probably going to see me will be when I have this bracket out and repaired or whatever replaced. We'll see. All right, everybody, let's zoom in over here on the this is the passenger side. That's underneath the battery. That's the again the apron. You can see I cut out the bad section and some, and there was that bracket that was there. I removed that completely. The bracket was let me just show you the bracket here. There's the bracket. Back out a bit. So there's the bracket. I put on, I put a new patch on it. Kind of hard to do this with. Anyways, there we go. You can see where I butt welded it. You're not going to see this, so I'm not concerned about it. I'm not going to flush it up like anything like that. It's nice and strong, and I put another patch on here, and it's pretty solid. I sandblasted it, primed it. It's ready to go in. And this essentially goes on like that. Then the apron goes on above it or on top of it, right? So I'll probably show you that afterwards. What I'm going to do is I've cut this piece out. I'll put it in, and then we'll take it from there. I'll mark that hole out on the other underside of this panel here, and I can cut it. Okay, everybody, you can see that I actually, I had cut out the piece, and I cut the piece off of the donor panel there, and I got it held in with 2 calicos. And I'm just gonna basically mark it from underneath where I'm gonna cut, and then I'm gonna butt weld it. And I basically lined it up with these holes here, and it seems to be fitting pretty darn good, to be honest with you. So we'll come back and check it out afterwards. So there it is. There's the marking. I got to cut it so I still see the marker, right? And then at that point, it should be pretty close, so I could do a butt weld on this thing. And again, I don't have to be the prettiest on it. I don't need to grind it down too much because you're not going to see it. The battery tray goes on top of it. So I'll bring it back once I got it tacked in. Okay, so I tacked that bracket in. I think I got it in the right spot. There's a, where's my finger? There we go. There's tack there, there's tack there. I also did some tacks on the back end. You can see that burned through, right? So it's nice and solid. And then I'll have to do some plug welds on the top when the pan's in, right? So that'll be nice and strong. What I did is when I drilled out the tack weld that was right, or the spot weld right there, I drilled a straight hole right through, and that basically showed me my alignment, right? So I just made sure I matched up that hole, and I plug welded it, and that's it. So everything should line up. Again, there's a bit of play, right, in the pan, you know. So I think I'm okay. So the next picture you should see is me having that replacement piece kind of tacked in. Okay. All right, so that patch is tacked in. I still got to, again, I'm doing a butt weld, so I still got to fill in between the spots. So and then grind her down, but I'll do that off camera. But that's basically it. The holes for the battery tray line up really good. Yeah, down there at the bottom. Right. So yep, down there at the bottom and the top. So onto the driver's side apron. So let's tackle the driver's side front apron. I'm still on the fence if I should just replace the top section, because that's where it's bad, right up there along the top edge, and then down at the bottom, right, which is easy enough to fix. All this is solid. So I'm still on the fence here, thinking, but again, by the time I patch in something here and down here, it'd be faster for me to dump the whole new apron in. So I'm just gonna examine the other apron and take it from there. Okay, so what I need to do before I start cutting out this part of the apron here is I need to know the distances of these holes here, right? And what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do that, the one in the center, again, this is between the front apron and the rear apron. This is not moving, this is not going anywhere. So I'm going to use that as my reference and measure it from there. So if we look at, again, we see the first one I come to. All right, what do we got on that? I'm looking at the full, we're about 10 and looks like 10 and 3/8. No, 10 and 5/8 from there. And then the second one is roughly 17 and 5/8. And then the last one's roughly about 11 and 1/8, 11 and 1/16, right? So again, that's from that reference point way over there, which is not moving. Okay? So just for my own reference. Another thing I also like to point out too, again, the lip here doesn't completely touch that. It looks a little high, but again, this is all rotten. All these spot welds, I'll have to cut them out. But there's a brace here. So this is the Fender apron, and there's a brace here that, again, is some rot. I'm gonna have to see if I can't get replacements of these, I don't think so. So I'm gonna have to see if I could save this somehow, but I'll know better once I start tearing into this. So stay tuned for that. Okay, everybody. So I decided to cut the top piece off. Yeah, you know what? This panel here is in good shape. I'm really, really concerned about replacing it with that one there, since it's so visible, and I don't know, the fitment might not be correct. But anyways, what I wanted to point out, looks like, okay, so here's the top part of the apron. It kept it, so this way I know the distances between these, right? And I cut it off from there, right? You can kind of see where it was rotted. But what I wanted to point out, let's take that, put it to the side, is this little brace. I've seen some other guys replacing aprons, and the person that had probably done it before just probably chursed this in the garbage and left it. But there's actually a support here, and I don't think you can buy this. So you can see there's some rust here. Not some, there's a good amount of rust. So I'm gonna have to see what I can do about, I wish I had a brake, to be honest with you, but you'll see it's got this nice curve like that. So I'm gonna have to mess with this. I'm gonna try and take it off and then fix it maybe in sections or something. But if I had a brake, it would probably been a lot easier. But anyways, stay tuned, we'll come back and we'll see how things work out. Okay, so hi to everybody. All right, so I decided to just completely replace the apron. I started to cut it at the top there and along, trying to do like a little patch, and I think I'm just going to butcher it. And I was thinking about the amount of time I'm going to spend on it, and this is such a visible area, as I mentioned before. So let me zoom in. So this is the driver's side. And you can see I took out the spot welds over here. So I drilled a little pilot hole, and I used my spot weld remover, and then I drilled pilot holes here. But I decided to use the drill right through, and I used this too. I don't know, it's a step drill, I guess it's called. I use this to go all the way through, and then same thing all along the front here, right? Just a little bit of stuff on placement. Just wanted to kind of make little notes and placements and stuff like that. Got the, I guess, radiator support coming down here, so I want to take this off. I know where stuff is supposed to go. This hole kind of lines up down over here. That's about it. For anybody doing this stuff, you can see, let's see, I did some work over here. I cut out a part there of the apron, so all that's going to come over and get covered here. I have to do work in here. I did decide to remove the front bumper. You might notice that it's gone now, and the bracket that was holding on the bumper, I would suggest you remove it. Man, that thing just captures all kind of garbage, and you can actually see I actually had to do a weld here on a plate type of thing, okay? And that's like a 1/8 inch thick plate. But that's about it. I don't think there's anything else for me to document. Oh, maybe. Oops, why is the phone doing that? Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. Right where that angle comes down, kind of meeting over here. Yeah, that's it. So hopefully that's how you folks see it. The next time you folks see it, it should be out and then ready to install the new one. Actually, I had to order the other one because I butchered the one I had here, so I should get it this week. All right, so it is out. It came out really easy. I actually didn't have to tear it apart. Look at it, actually came out pretty smooth and with minimal damage, to be honest with you. Again, I used, where's my air persuader, the air chisel. I used this, but I had it very, very low, just kind of inching along. But for the most part, the spot weld remover and drilling with a step drill really loosen things up. It's probably a good idea because, again, look, all inside there I got to clean up, right? All down here I got to clean up. One thing I didn't mention, while it was still in here, I got a Sharpie and I marked the line where it was, right? Just as a reference. So when I go to put in the other one, right, it kind of lines up inside here, okay? But I forgot to point that out. So I'm just going to clean up all this rust and stuff like that and get it ready for when the replacement comes in. Hopefully it'll be in this week. Just cross my fingers. That's it. So we'll see that hopefully when the next one comes in and then tacked in. All right, so I messed up my plans. So I decided to just go, instead of replacing just the top piece, I messed it up. I'm just gonna do the whole thing, right? It'll look a lot cleaner. So I actually had to order a new piece. Here it is over here. I got well through primer on it. This is, it's a Dynacorn. I got it from Mustang, the mustangshop.ca. They're out in Calgary, I think it is. Place I usually get my stuff from. Golden Leaf Automotive in Toronto or Vaughan. Didn't have it in stock and I didn't feel like waiting a month, so was lucky to have it. So you can see I prepared it, put in little holes for all my little plug welds, and I also put weld-through primer on it. Same thing over here, weld-through primer all the way around. So I'm gonna tack her in and then weld her up and see how it goes. All right, so she's welded in. I did a little bit of grinding, but I figured I'd just show you this first. I got to do a little bit more grinding here. I tacked it. I did plug welds on this side. I also did some on the other side in the back where I had the holes. So I got it tacked on both sides here type of thing. Down at the bottom, I got a bit more cleaning up to do. And again, a little bit more cleaning up to do along here. And I welded that bracket that was there. I welded it onto the apron first before I put this on, right? And for the most part, this thing just popped right into place. It was really a perfect fit, to be honest with you, right? So I'll show it to you when it's all done and cleaned up and primed. Stay tuned. Well, one other thing I need to mention here, here's the old apron. There's a bolt or nut here, right? So if I flip this over, there's this little plate here. And you can see where the spot welds are, just quick sand. You can see where the spot welds are. So I got to take that plate off and weld it onto the replacement because the replacement does not have that. So you'll see that in a bit. Okay, so the front aprons are done. There's the replacements I put in on the driver's side. Again, it did tacks in the back as well. So it looks good. Nice replacement. Again, over here, I gotta still sand it here, just get these stickers off of it, sand it a bit, and then paint it. Same thing when I get into the engine compartment. There's the passenger side. Again, if I zoom in a bit, you'll see where I replaced that piece. And I replaced the piece, my finger out of the way there, right, it's focusing on my finger, right where that hole is, kind of there, I replaced all that. So came out pretty good. Like I said, I didn't replace the whole thing. Would have probably been easier for me just to replace the whole thing. But the good thing about that is I the holes for where the fenders nuts go in, those are all the same over there, right? So I know that that's perfect. This side is obviously new. You'll notice that there isn't any here. They got a stamping. Let me back out. They have stamping, but I still have. Where is it? There we go. So I still have that piece I saved up. And plus, when I was videoing, I took those measurements. So I'll worry about that when it's time to put the fender on, right? But for now, it's rear apron time. Well, that's it, everybody, for the front aprons. Thanks for watching. If you found this entertaining in the slightest, hit that thumbs up. It helps out with the YouTube analytics. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, to support the channel, please subscribe to it. It's really easy. It's free. Just click on the subscribe button. And again, we don't get monetized, so we get at least 1,000 subscribers, which I think is not fair. Anyways, the next thing will be the rear aprons, and that'll be very soon. I've already started some of it, so stay tuned. We'll see you in a bit. Bye now.